Good morning, truckers. I'm Josh Jones. 7 new victims were found last night in the Grayson Cemetery, the newest slayings of the Clintonville slasher. Wait, hold on. It's just in. We have a video, apparently, of the Clintonville slasher, but I must warn you, viewer discretion is advised. It looks like we found his last victim. My name is Lurch Frankenwelks, and I hide in the shadows of this small town. And you are my latest victim. I am the Clintonville slasher. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Slasher Hour. I'm your host, Lurch Frankenwelks, and welcome to part 2 with Joey and Jessica of LDR. Welcome back, you guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? So, continuing on, you also have a non-profit that you guys have started. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we, like I said, most of, the focus lately, has been, with recovery. The non-profit is, myself and Jeffrey Blackburn, who I went through Recovery Point with, we have created a scholarship for people that's graduating in long-term inpatient treatment, anywhere from 1 day to 6 months of completion of a program is part of the criteria. And what we're trying to do is there's real-world financial obstacles and barriers for people coming out of treatment that are in recovery, that have dealt with addiction and may or may not be able to get a job due to police record, criminal charges incurred. Justice impacted person is the appropriate vernacular for it. But like with having felonies and stuff on your record, and not just that, there's like fines, court costs. A lot of people have lost their driver's license. There's just all kinds of things. And there are state programs to assist people with these troubles. However, there's limited amounts. All right, so these obstacles for people, like I said, there's state programs that will assist with this. With the limited funds available in grants and budgets, and there's the waiting list. There's just so much stuff that will get in the way when someone's trying to do these, to start their life over.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of the scholarship is we are kind of eliminating the middleman, so to speak.
Okay.
We have criteria that we're setting in place, which will be, let's say within 1 day to 6 months completing treatment. There's a bunch of fine print as far as the criteria goes, which will be available in the post when we go public with it.
Okay.
But pretty much it's someone who is actively working their program, who has continued sobriety, at least, from whatever time they were in the program plus the time that they graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So anywhere from 1 day to probably a year. It just depends on which program. Different ones have different lengths of time. Like, for instance, Recovery Point is a year, but sometimes, for instance, I finished it in 10.5 months.
Okay.
So we're going to take those things into effect. But basically, we're trying to help them with whatever it is they need help with, up to, the goal is $2,500
mm-hmm.
per person. And the reason I say the goal is because this being the first year, we have an event scheduled to help raise the money. It's Rock for Recovery. It's going to be July 16th in Pipestem, West Virginia, where Metal in the Mountains is held, which also Metal in the Mountains is one of our sponsors. And we have Chess Healthcare and with Recovery Connections, they're a sponsor. We have Noble's Art and Apparel. We have Stably Hamlet Distribution. We just, all the information will be on the flyers. You're going to have the slideshow there.
Yeah. Yep, I will.
So, we have all these companies coming together to help us pull this off, and the goal, every bit of the proceeds from that show goes into the scholarship fund. So hopefully between that and whatever we can do as far as fundraising in the meantime, Hopefully we can get as close to that 2,500 as possible for this. But the cool thing is the nonprofit that I'm working on is we're going to call that the scholarship, the Sanford Second Chance Scholarship. But the nonprofit is going to be the Sanford Second Chance Foundation.
Okay.
Because I eventually want to broaden out and be able to offer different levels of scholarships, different ways to help people. So what we're going to do once that's established, hopefully be able to have some access to some grant funding, get some help from the government,
Okay.
to be able to give people help directly.
Very cool. Very cool. That's very awesome. That's very commendable. I'm super happy that you're doing that. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, while I'm working on setting all that up, Jess is going to be, is now the acting CEO of Living Dead Recordings.
Awesome.
Make sure everything runs smooth while we're getting all this together.
That way it frees Joey up to learn what he needs to learn to do grant funding and get all the nonprofit stuff set up, and I can handle the day-to-day and anything any band might need, that kind of thing.
Awesome. Very cool. So I got a few questions for you guys. So what kind of got you guys into, I think we kind of covered that, what got you into punk rock music? What was some of the bands that like kicked you off from like an early age?
Oh, you take that one.
So for me, I was at a friend's birthday party. It was her 16th birthday party, and she played Love Like Blood, which is a Blitzkid song. And I had never heard them before, and I was like, oh, I really like that. What is that? And she obviously told me the band. And it wasn't long after that they had a show, and I went to that show, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this atmosphere. I liked the band. And then shortly after, a couple months later, I went to a second show that was also a Blitzkid show, and it just kind of all went downhill from there, so to speak.
Right.
I started going to all the local Blitzkid shows at the Princeton Rec Center, which was an experience in and of itself. It's the only place I've ever been that cinder block walls will sweat.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an experience that if you've never had, it's just, I cannot explain it enough. And then through going to those shows, several years later, Blitzkid was on tour with a band called Mongrel, and I met Mongrel. I was actually hanging out at TV's house and met their guitar player and a couple other members, and we got friendly, started chit-chatting, and I started going up to Massachusetts to visit and went to their shows, and then I eventually moved to Massachusetts and started working merch for them. So that's kind of how I jumped off into more working in the music scene as well, and moving somewhere that I didn't really have a lot of friends. That music family became a true family for me, and a lot of really good friends and people who have had my back for years. And just, being able to work in that type of industry has been very eye-opening.
Very cool.
But it led me to being able to work for LER and taking over doing the interim CEO position.
Very cool.
That I'm currently doing.
Very cool. Very cool. What about you, Joey?
Since the first punk band I ever heard that I liked, and I didn't know it was considered punk then, was Green Day.
Okay.
Because I was strictly, metalhead or whatever. But, same thing with Jess. Blitzkid introduced me to the world of horror punk. And then once I started hanging out with the guys, I had never heard the Misfits before.
Really?
Don't know how I managed to do that, but I hadn't. Well, I got turned on to the Famous Monsters album, and I was just got strung out on horror punk. And then I went down a rabbit hole from, Misfits to Calabrese, Blitzkid, Crimson Ghost. I mean, I sit here and go on all night.
Yeah, I know. So could I.
Yeah. So many awesome bands. But as far as branching out from there, punk, and this is pretty cool because one of the actual first punk bands, besides, the obvious ones, the Ramones, everybody, goes back to the Ramones. But the Queers, and here's what's really cool about that is Tuesday, June 14th, Dragnon will be playing with the Queers.
Fuck yes.
And, in Salem, Virginia. It's it's a place called the Pizza Den.
Okay.
It's their 40th anniversary tour, so...
They've been around for 40 years. That's crazy. The Queers have been around for 40 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. But when I first heard the Queers, I don't know, 2001, 2002, sitting around hanging out with TV, just drinking a beer and listening to music, I never thought I'd be playing with them.
Right, that's
So
crazy.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you know, I got into like political punk, like Propaganda, and was one of my favorite bands for a while. And then a band they used for a name, got into them pretty heavy. Yeah, so just kind of like all over the place.
That's very cool. Very cool. So if I ask this question to everybody that joins the show, but if you're stuck on a deserted island and you can only take one band and one of their albums with you, who are you taking?
That is a really hard question.
I know.
It
For me, it's super easy.
You said one band and one of their albums?
Yep.
Yeah, that is hard. For me, it'd be Rise Against.
Okay.
And just whichever album, like, I think they're all good.
I do too.
And I think for me, I would have to go with the Bronx. They are a punk band out of LA, and I wouldn't really care which album I took. I would just need one of those
Right.
to keep my sanity.
Right.
They actually have a song called Shitty Future, which when, like we all do, get in bad places, I usually listen to that and be like, well, this is my shitty future right now.
Yeah.
So,
If you're stuck on a deserted island, it's pretty shitty.
yeah.
So what for Joey it would be what has been your favorite show to play, and for Jessica, I guess what would be your favorite show to see so far?
My favorite show that we played.
Yeah.
That's the question.
With anybody.
That was Horrorfest 2009 in Fayetteville, North Carolina at the Rock Shop with Dragnon. And at the time I was in two bands. You know, I got this thing with being in two bands, but I was in this band called Demon's Grave, which
cool.
was playing with, like, you know, both bands was on the same little 4-day run there. There's the Hot Topic shows.
Okay.
So the Hot Topic show promoted the Fayetteville show later that night. And the reason that's my favorite show is because that was the first time playing. There's probably like 300 people there. Just to guess, it was like very close to 300 people. I'd never played to that many, you know, people at this point. And I remember, like, we had a prime spot too, and we got lucky. We were playing at like 9 p.m. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And we did this cover of Folsom Prison that we sped up the music times like 4, but the lyrics stayed the same speed. Like, the way we had it worked up was amazing.
Yeah.
But nobody knew, like, nobody saw this coming, and like just all of a sudden you hear the bang, dang, 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 and then just bam, hit it.
Right.
Dude, the place was fucking crazy.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That's fucking awesome. What about you, Jessica?
That was a pretty good experience.
I think for me, probably the favorite show that actually I always worked this show. It was always at the Worcester Palladium. It was the Rock and Shock convention. It was always a 3-day convention, and they had bands playing over the Palladium, and then they took the DCU, and it was basically like a big nerd convention, pretty much.
Fuck yeah.
They would bring in, you know, certain movie stars from certain horror movies. They would bring in, they had like Tattoo Alley kind of things, so you could actually get tattooed there. There was always a couple of national bands that played, like 1 year War played, and me being just absolutely out of the loop on that, I was like, who is walking around in this costume and headlining over the Palladium? But just seeing, you know, people would dress up for this show, they would go all out, and there was, you know, bands merch set up. There was people who were promoting their horror games that they had created. Like, it was just a crazy weekend, but it was always so much fun.
That sounds awesome. I saw Guar in Accident once. I went to a show and it was the wrong day, and when I walked in, they let me come in anyway. I was like, I don't know, 14 years old. I walked in and Guar was playing, and I had never heard of him, and I was like, what the fuck did I just fucking walk into? But that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty much the reaction I had when I actually saw them later that night at the Palladium. I was like, what is happening?
The fuck is going on? So if you guys can have dinner with any author, living or dead, who would it be?
Author?
Yeah. Author, actor.
Okay, yeah, broad to it. So I'm not really a big reader.
I'm the reader, I think.
I read stuff when I'm forced.
Who would it be?
Well, for me, for actor, it'd be Robert Downey Jr.
Okay. Having dinner with Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
That sounds great.
But I mean, he's like a straight fucking outlaw, dude. I mean, he was in the 80s, like, his drug problem, like, he was getting out of jail to be able to do movies and have to go back to jail.
Right?
And then, and then talk about a comeback story. Look at him now.
Yeah, that's very true. Definitely
a role model.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think for me, it would be an author. It would actually be Stephen King.
Yes.
Probably kind of cliche for everybody, but after having lived in the New England area and then reading his books, a lot of the things that he writes about is stuff that you see on a day-to-day basis up there. So just like sitting down and getting to talk to him about like where these ideas came from or the story behind it. Like, were you just shopping at the grocery store and saw some random person that inspired this? Like, I would
Saw
love
a
to sit
fucking
down and
creepy
have a
clown?
conversation with him.
I would totally agree with you. I'd pick Stephen King as well. I'm a giant nerd for when it comes to Stephen King. My first punk band was named Annie Wilkes. That's how much I fucking love.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Misery, right?
Yeah, it's my favorite book. Yeah.
It's all the movie, I think so.
Oh, the book is so good, dude. Oh my god. That you read that, if you ever get your hands on a copy of that book, you'll treasure it because it's fucking amazing. The only thing I didn't see Castle Rock, but I heard good things.
Oh.
That's on Hulu.
Hey, real quick, and just because when something Jessica said just real fast, like she's talking about living there and like, just kind of like how she could see that, like being realistic. Just hit my head just real quick, like the last Blitzkid tour.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen SLC Punk, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, of course. It's like required viewing.
Yeah, you can't be punk rock unless you see that movie. That's like a rule.
Yeah. It's part of paying your dues. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're in Salt Lake City, and dude, I was blown away at the fact of even in 2012, it's like the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like everything, like off-duty cops are working the liquor store. There's a guy walking down the street with Liberty spikes like this fucking tall.
It's awesome.
Who didn't even know that there was a punk show that night. Like, we're telling him, like, hey, bro, you coming to the show later? He's like, what show? I'm like,
It's just a way of life for
yeah,
them.
it's just a way of life. Like, it's, everything, there's so many things in the movie was, like, actually there. It's like living in a Twilight Zone. Like,
Right.
This is so fucking cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's totally cool. I've actually I've never been there.
Don't.
Yeah, fuck that place. So what is your ultimate favorite horror movie?
Another hard question. Jesus.
There's so many good ones.
I know, it's hard to pick one.
For me, it's going to be Frankenstein, the original.
Oh, good choice.
I almost said Monster Squad, but
That'd have been another acceptable answer. That's a great movie.
Two of my favorites from my childhood. So.
Yeah. I love the Monster Squad. So good.
Yeah.
And I think I'm probably going to go with another probably cliche classic, but Psycho.
Ooh, good choice.
But it's also the mental piece behind it that I like, that it takes you on, because that movie really, if you sit down and watch it, it's not that gory.
No.
It's all about what the mental aspect of what she goes through, like in the hotel room and that kind of thing, and like kind of what her own mind does to her.
Right, exactly. That's a great. Did you ever see Bates Motel at all? The TV show?
Yes.
Oh, that was so good. That was
That was
good.
another good one. And, I think that really showcased more the mental health issues that the son went through that kind of caused him to be what he was.
Crazy, yeah. But yeah, that show was amazing. So this is another hard question. What is your favorite horror movie from the 2000s? Early 2000s?
That's sort of easy for me. It would have been the Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. I like
right.
1 better than 2.
Right.
But the Jeepers Creepers.
I don't know if this really, we call this, I guess it's hard. The Scream series.
Oh, dude, yes.
Was good.
And really, the thing that helps clinch that answer is like the latest one. Oh my god!
I know, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I was blown away.
I bought all of them. I just bought all of them.
It to be that good. And
yeah.
It was, holy wow. Yeah.
We could dive into that. I was watching a live stream a couple weeks ago that my buddy puts on, and he was asking like, "What do you think the next Scream movie would be called?" I said Ghostface, because they signed on to do a trilogy. So they're going to do the new one, and then a second one, and a third one. And I think what's going to happen is that, because, spoiler alert, Dewey, passed away in the last one.
Yeah.
What if Gail's doing like a like a news anchor, and the killer calls with Dewey's voice? Like they had the voice changer in part 3. They called that. But in this one, they're going to switch things up. So what if they had 3 Ghostface killers? Okay? And the first Ghostface killer gets killed by one of your main characters. And they have to go back. And they go all the way to the end. Sidney's not in this movie. But at the very end, the other Ghostface killer gets killed. And the third one gets away. And it's Sidney sitting on the fucking phone with their, like, Patrick Dempsey and all of her family around. Ghostface calls and says, "Surprise, Sidney." And then at the third one, it's Stu and Sidney at the very end. And they die in a bloody knife fight. That's how I want it to be. That's how, like, the third one could be called Return to Woodsboro. And, like, oh my fucking God. That's the way I want that to end. That's just me.
Maybe a slight twist, maybe just a tiny twist is one of the original, either Dale or Sidney, one of them. Like, at the very end of all of it, one of them is one of the killers. Like,
yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, right? Just fucking snap, like, fucking...
But I think Gail, before she lost Dewey, like, she just goes crazy after that.
Yeah, just goes bananas. Yeah, that would be a twist. Or, like, what if Gail was, like, working with one of them the whole time? I mean, the only way they could bring Stu back is if they had him, like, in a government lab and he was, like, profiling serial killers, and that's why he's been gone. But they've never once said in the entire franchise that Stu was dead. Never once.
That's true. Imagine, bringing him. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be fucking amazing. I could sit here and talk about. Yeah, I can sit here and talk for hours about fucking Scream forever and ever and ever. I fucking love that movie. Fuck yeah, dude. So, what's next for LDR?
Well, right now, we have we have 3 releases coming up. So, just help me out with dates on this. So the first release is, who's first?
Oh, I knew I should have brought my planner.
I think we got the right. And if I'm wrong, the guys will forgive me. But,
yes.
So we have Ivy Oracle.
Okay.
Their album is releasing July 29th.
July 29th on LDR. They just dropped the video single, like 2 nights ago, Undertow.
Yes.
Very good shit.
Fuck yeah.
And our next release is Sever the Wicked, August 5th.
I think it's
Pretty
the
sure.
5th. I believe it's the first week of August. I literally don't have my daybook in front of me.
Okay.
And that's just, we have so much stuff like planned. Like, remember these dates, they all start running together.
Yeah.
And then the next release is Dragnun, Appalachian Blackhearts on August 25th.
Fuck yeah.
Which is long overdue because our last EP was 2008.
Wow.
And last band only. And then the other bands on the label, like for instance Happy Hour Homicide, we go back in the studio the 3rd week of June in between the Dragnun dates to record a single, but we're going to be working on a full length this fall. Because Dragnun will be on break after September 24th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you sleep?
The next big, the next big thing for LDR is Rock for Recovery on July 16th.
Very cool. Very cool.
We have a ton of great bands. Like, you have the flyer for that.
Yep.
And a band, breakout band, I guess. Our headliner, Lilac, out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Like, they are. I recommend checking out their video. I've shared The Perfect Drug.
Okay.
They're incredible. But then we are also sponsoring and co-managing Brew Stock too, which we were part of that last year also. and that's going to be, and I believe it's going to be in Lancaster, South Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah. And the reason I'm a little iffy on it is the location had changed from last year, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Lancaster. But there's a ton of going to be a ton of great bands playing that too. The lineup's not solidified yet, but Top Heavy Productions, Rock Lab Records, who are also sponsors for Rock Recovery, we're all working together on this.
Very cool. Very cool.
Got a full calendar.
Yeah, sounds awesome. So if you guys want to follow all the links to all those bands, they'll be in the links to, in the description box below. Make sure you're checking them out. Where can people find you guys at?
We are on, obviously Facebook, Instagram, YouTube under LDR Productions. We got a channel on there. It's at facebook.com/LDR Norte. And then as far as Facebook.com/DragNotOfficial, Facebook.com/HHHWV for Happy Hour Homicide. And there's going to be LivingDeadRecordings.com. I have the domain. We just don't have the site built yet.
We're in the process of working on that and getting that up and running.
Oh, I look forward to it.
That will eventually be a thing, hopefully in the next few weeks.
That'd be awesome. Well, I want to thank both you guys very much for being here. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell them I love them. And until next time, that's Joey, Jessica of LDR. Stay fucking horror. Thank you guys. Don't go anywhere. I got a few more questions. But everybody else, later days.